everybody, welcome back. I'm William.
I'm Kina.
And we're on the Nerdy Weds.
And somebody just got finished getting their handed to them.
Yeah, you did.
Playing
bombastic
this game.
Boom! Black hole rainbows. Not the strongest theme in a game, but boy is it a pretty great game.
I don't mind the theme or lack thereof. It's abstract. I get it.
I like that.
Very abstract. What's the objective of this game?
The objective of this game is to beat your opponent with getting all of your light stones into the black hole 7 times to get 7 coins first. That's it.
And you
How
get a coin?
simple is that?
Well, that's not the only way to score a point in this game.
That
you
is
can also
true.
roll this 20-sided die. Black Hole Rainbow is a game with 2 to 6 players. It scales very nicely. As you scale up the game, you add more crystals available to the players within the game. It is for players age 8 and up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was designed by who?
June Dune.
June Dune.
So it's a, for lack of a better term, an indie game.
Indie publisher.
So it's not by a huge publication, which was pretty cool because had we never gone to
Games and Party Con?
Yeah, Game and Party Con in Jacksonville, Florida, we would have never heard about this game. They were there as a vendor, and we kept seeing people walk around with this game, and we sat down, played a game with someone we didn't know, and had the best time playing it because it was that quick to learn and that quick for the person to teach. And before we even finished playing the game, before anyone had won, we were like, we're going to get this game right
Actually,
now.
during the game, I finished my turn, went and bought the game at the vendor, came back, and we finished playing the game. And I had the game in my hands, and I wish I'd have bought 2 copies.
I wish you would have, because this would have been a good one to
giveaway.
Give as a giveaway. But their website is blackholerainbows.com, and you can go there and buy your own copy. Unfortunately for you guys, you're going to have to pay the full price, which is $60. But at the con, it was on sale for $45.
$45.
The best $45 we spent at that convention.
At that convention, and period, for a little while. I mean, this game has given us a lot of joy and has given a lot of our friends a lot of joy. And we're going to dive into the components of this.
So the components are one of the best parts of this game because it's what sold us initially. The parts in here is really, compared to some of the other games we have like Everdell and Scythe, there's really not that many components. But what's there is quality. So every player gets what's called a black hole, and this is what you put your light stones in. Now, this black hole, it feels rubbery and really sturdy. The light stones, they look like gems, are very pretty. Each one of them, the colors, is almost iridescent. And it looks like candy, but it's very hard stone or jewels, more like jewels. So those are light stones. You get 64 of them, and when you're playing 2-player, you put 32 of them in this bag, 4 of each color, and once you put them in the bag, each person will draw randomly 8 of them. Then you have 25 supernova coins. You have a scatter die, and this is the one that you roll at the very start of your turn to see if you have to give someone on the left or right side of you one of your light stones, or if you get to take a light stone from the outer space mat. This is where all of the light stones will go. and where you and the other players will pull the light stones from when it's your turn. Or if you have a card that allows you to pull some light stones from the outer space mat. Now these cards are what takes the game from cute to cutthroat like that. And this man, he's going to talk more about what I mean by that, because he's going to talk about how to play this game. Before he does that, I did not mention the last component, which is the scatter die. And this is the supernova, the supernova die. See, this is how he wins all the time, because he distracts me. So the supernova die that you roll to see if you will get a supernova coin. What you got?
So let's go into the cards, because that's why I joined you. So we can talk about cards.
Oh, okay.
So our cards are, like she said, this is random number generator, or RNG, like dice typically are in a game. This is chaos. So we got several different cards here, and they are all nuttier than the last. So just as a couple examples here, just drawing a few cards, I got a card called Cosmic Cloud. This card prevents any one player from adding a 7th color light stone to their black hole for one turn. You play this against a player who's getting ready to score a point, and they don't get it. Neutron Star. Place 4 of the clear light stones. You all know what clear light stones look like. Clear ones. If you place 4 of these from your hand into the middle at the same time, you score a point. Like I said, these things are vicious. The cards are vicious. Here you go. Go ahead and tell them what these cards do.
Implosion. Choose one player. All of the light stones in their hand are forced into their black hole.
And I got High Gravity here. High Gravity is choose one player to challenge. Both players place all of their light stones together. Each player then rolls the supernova roller. Starting with the player who played the card, the first player to roll a supernova wins all of the combined light stones.
And then there's swap any of one player's light stones to outer space for different colors.
So you take all their clear stones, throw them in there, and then you can draw another card like... Well, that's the same card you were just talking about. But there's a card in here that there's cards that allow you to mine too. There's a card that allows you to take all of a single color from the center. So if you played those two cards consecutively, the mirror dimension, where you take all of the clear stones, throw them in here, and you play the other card that allows you to take all of it.
Yeah, it can become very dynamic and strategic, and you have to know when to use a card and who to use it against. Easy when it's 2-player, but when you start to increase the number, you really got to pay attention to what everyone has going on. How close are they to filling their black hole and getting a supernova coin, or how close are they to getting that 7th stone? And you really have to pay attention to how you're using the cards as well, because you might, if you don't think it through, you might use a card thinking you're going to hurt someone and then end up helping them. Yeah. Some of this stuff will make more sense when we go into the rules overall of how to play the game.
Let's get into how we play this game. So, the setup for this game is quite simple. She already said about the number of light stones you're going to include for individual games, depending on the number of players. For instance, as she mentioned, 4 of each color, which comes out to be 32 total for a 2-player game. And then you add 1 for 3-player of each color, which comes out to 40 stones. And then you add another for 4-player, and then a 5 to 6-player using all 8 of each color stone, which comes out to be 64 total stones. So, getting to the next part of setup, it's really simple. You put all the stones in the bag. Each player in player order, starting with the first player, reaches in the bag and draws out 8 stones. I am going to dump all the remaining stones onto this neoprene mat. And this is your outer space mat. This is where all the stones rest until it comes to a player's turn. Each player has their mat, their little black hole mat, and their 8 stones, and are dealt 3 cards. I know that's not how you deal, but that's how I did it for this. So each of you got 3 cards. You don't get to play with these cards until after the final player in the round has taken and finished their first turn. So the first round, nobody gets to play any cards. Cards are going to start flying in round 2, and it's going to be insane. So other than setup, everything you need to know is on this card. Every player gets one. So step 1, roll the scatter die. That is your 6-sided die, and it is going to come up, for me on this instance, is +1. So I'm going to draw a stone from the middle, put it with the rest of my stones. Now the other options on this die are +1 on 2 sides, L1, R1, which is pass a stone of your choice to your neighbor to your left or your neighbor to your right. And then there's L2 and R2, which means you're going to pass 2 stones of your choice to your neighbor to your left or your neighbor to the right, depending on what you've rolled on this die. Once you've completed what the die tells you to do, you then go to the next step, which is place any light stones into your black hole. So, starting with, you see all these little gemstone locations on your mat, you're going to place 1 of each color stone until you've covered 7 spots on, I did that wrong, on each of these little spots here, until you got 7 stones. You would then dump this into the middle. Now, rules governing placing stones. You notice that there are a bunch of different colors of stones. You can only place 1 of any given color into this with one exception. You can place as many clear stones as you like into this. They are wild. So the clear stones are wild. All the other stones, none of them can match their neighbors or any other stone in the black hole. Once you've placed all those, you dump it in the center. You take a coin, because you have scored a point. Congratulations. And then you can place the rest of your stones in there. Or you can give your neighbors up to 3 of these stones to roll the supernova die 1 time for each stone you've given away. And anytime you roll the supernova symbol, you then gain another coin. Point of note, for this card, all of these steps have to be completed in order. You cannot skip back and forth. They are numbered 1 through 4 for a reason. So once you've rolled the scatter die, then you place your light stones like I just discussed. Then you can choose whether or not you're going to give away extra light stones or keep them for a future round. If you give them away, you get to roll the supernova die as I just explained. And the last step is mine 2 light stones and draw 1 card. You take any 2 light stones you want from the middle and you draw a card off the deck. You add that card to your hand. Now after the end of the first round, for the astute amongst you, you might have noticed, none of these steps involve playing cards. You draw a card at the end of each turn. Well, cards are played at any time, on anyone's turn, at any time. Strategic playing of the cards becomes very vital to how you do in the game. Somebody gets done dumping their black hole into the middle and all of these clear stones are sitting there. Strategic play of a card in that moment can get you these stones. And if you're paying attention, you will understand this can get chaotic. It's really nice. But that is pretty much the end of the rules. And the first player to get 7 of these coins wins the game. It's really that simple.
Final thoughts on the game.
Final thoughts. The components. The components. Now, there's some games that are all show and no-go. Great components. But the game itself plays terribly. The components are a good indication of what you're going to experience with this game. It's a good quality, fun time. It's a game with a lot of take that. This game is all about the interaction with your opponents. And I really enjoy it.
I really enjoy it too.
It's one of the best. I mean, this rule book looks like a rule book, but it's really a rule page that they took some liberties in making a little bit wordier than it might need to be. But it's still a really good rule book. It just, I rank it right there with like Century Spice Road. In some of those other games that really have a page of rules. This rule book is so small that it's really a page of rules if you printed it, like really tiny print, like Century. And it's packed with just as much game. I really enjoy this game.
Very dynamic game.
You got the RGN with the cards and 2 sets of RGN with the game itself, with the dice. And it's insanity, it's chaotic, and it is overall a great time. 2 thumbs up, really. That's all I got. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think of this really cool game. And stay nerdy.
Yep.